From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief technologist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have agency chat with Mr. Ryan Waterbury, and we're going to talk about why he made his own plugins for his agency. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by All-in-One WP Migration, the most trusted WordPress migration plugin with over 60 million sites served. Whether you are switching hosts, changing domains, or moving to a new server, All-in-One WP Migration makes it one click. Try it for free at WordPress.org or visit servemass.com for pro features. Hey, everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm here with my good friend with Agency Talk, Mr. Ryan Waterbury. Hey, Ryan, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. It's Friday. It's kind of nice out so far. We'll see.
Yeah, by the way, for the record, how many wildfires are going on in Minnesota right now? I'm
A
just curious.
couple, a
Okay,
couple.
so not all the smoke is coming from Canada, right? Right. Thank you.
Correct.
You know where that's
For,
coming from, don't you?
for once.
Yeah. Well, you know what? My friend Leslie's got a brother up in Thunder Bay, and I'll tell you, it's still very smoky up there. So,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think we have if it's not smoke, it's tornadoes. If it's not tornadoes, as our mutual friend Mr. Jones would tell you, Arkansas's Tornado Alley. So, I don't
yeah,
know, but my asthma has been killing me. So it is nice
yeah.
out there today. It is cool out there today, and life is good. So anyway, today I thought we'd jump into something. You've been working on some of your own plugins for your agency. Um,
Correct.
I've had the pleasure of testing those for you, as you know, on a live site. So I'm going to tell people don't do this unless you know what you're getting into. 'Cause you know how I feel about that, right? But the only way to test these is I'm one security plugin. They're both security actually on a
Mhm.
live site. I'm running one of the two plus the main WP add-ons. So thank you for that. Um, what I wanted to find out is why you decided that you needed to write your own plugins.
That's a good not very long story, but there's a story to it.
Mhm.
So uh, we all know that security's been kind of a dumpster fire over, especially the past few months. I mean, I can literally put my finger on
That's all you and I have done for a couple months,
Mhm.
to be fair.
80% of my week. I'm
Mine too.
getting, oh, your site's getting hit with the DDoS level 7 attack, and I'm just like, I'm done. I've tried all the different security plugins out there, and honestly, I'm going to say it, I'm still employing Jeff Starr's um, 8G firewall. That's pretty much
Oh my.
built in all of them as the core. But then, everybody needs to add features. So you add a hardening feature. Oh, well, now you need to add a few other features. And then there's overlap with your caching plugin or your performance plugin that has nothing to related to do. So they all do 90% of the same things on top of the 10% of the core that they used to do. And they're fat and heavy and they slow your site down. I'm going to take a shot at WordFence because I know it's your favorite plugin out there.
Let, let's
Honestly, that's
stop. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Let's stop you right there. Since we're going there, ever since my the esteemed leader of WordPress, Mr. Mark Marauder, called GoDaddy out about 5 years ago, and I said to him, insert shared hosting here, which is true. He could have called any shared host out because most of those shared hosts are not containerized. Some are, but these ones aren't. And he accused me of writing clickbait, and I accused him basically of shit. And I've offered Mark an ongoing opportunity to come on this show with a moderator to moderate an unedited conversation. And he has no guts to join me on this show. So he is considered personal non grata number one. And by the way, sir, if you change your mind, I'm on. So bring it and bring it now. Go ahead. Since you went there.
I purposely picked on WordFence. I know it's not your favorite, but it's
Yep.
been a go-to for a lot of people, and it does a
Yep.
fairly good job. And I mean, it's been one of the best hardening and web
Yep.
application firewalls that runs inside WordPress. But that's the problem. So when I started seeing these things, we adjusted our server stack. I moved and rebuilt everything on Nginx, had some nice server directives. We were testing mod security. But at the end of the day, the security plugins were heavy and they have to
Yep.
run PHP. So if that's where your security's at, then you're doing it wrong. So I had a little philosophical change. I said, open light speed's been great for us. We're going to move things back, put our sites behind the quick cloud proxy and run the AG firewall. And right around the time that Fable Mythos was out, and then we saw the hacking just increase exponentially and hasn't really stopped. Even from the 2020 when we saw it rise when people had nothing to do, I've been pulling my hair out what little I have left. And right around that time, Google said, "Hey, we know we've needed to do some things with reCAPTCHA. We've rethought it." And they built an entire fraud defense system that runs on their servers with a
Yep.
really with the lightweight script. I know some people say that reCAPTCHA is heavy, but for the amount of things that you can do with it now,
Yep.
uh, it's amazing. It's a
I
complete fraud
think you
defense
gotta
system.
let me stop you for a sec. I think you gotta
Sure.
do either reCAPTCHA or if you want to do reCAPTCHA, the other alternative, and I'm not criticizing you for building
Mhm.
it. I think you should have. It's Cloudflare turnstile. One or the other.
Yep.
I tend to I on my form side, I have to shout out my friend Mark Westgard. I'm a WS Forms user. WS Forms makes Cloudflare turnstiles integration so easy. It's almost stupid not to run it if that's what you choose. But what you're saying is we have a number of people who swear by reCAPTCHAs. I agree. So you're trying to make the security on that better because we all know form spam is a pain in the wazoo, so to speak.
Yeah. And what was interesting, I was looking at some things. We started seeing some
Yep.
card testing, even through
Yep.
uh even with the security plugins that look for that. And we had a couple that were bounced by Stripe. But I looked at this, as an opportunity to integrate the fraud defense system. It's not just checking forms anymore, it's scoring bots across your entire site.
Oh
And there were
yeah.
a couple of reasons that I got to
Oh yeah.
this. Um, Security plugin, it didn't save us from a major disaster. I had a client, we had the site hardened. It's a pretty lean site. It's one of the last nonprofit sites that I work with, but they have a good team and they pay their bills. They're nice to work with. Their marketing director, my main contact, he fell for one of the sophisticated phishing schemes,
Oh,
had his credentials leaked. Well,
thank AI.
security plugins don't check for that, but Google's fraud defense does. And now,
Yep.
if somebody tries
Yep.
to change the password from an odd IP, it says no, can't do that. And it also ties into two-factor authentication across the board. That would have saved us there too.
Let's
So,
stop there.
I
Let's stop for a second. I'm sorry, I'm interjecting a lot today. Um, 2FA. This is not an option anymore, folks.
Mhm.
You need to, if you're running a business site, you need to get 2FA on your sites now, yesterday, because that would stop probably 50 to 75% of this shit. pardon my language, but that's just the reality of it. And people keep saying 2FA is a pain in the butt. I would say if you want to do it the easy way, do it with Google Authenticator and
Mhm.
just be done with it. Um, or I use an YubiKey. If you're going to do it with an YubiKey, make sure you have a backup because if you lose your key, you're screwed. I actually have two backups. I have one on my keychain, one in my safe at home, and one on my desk. I have three. So, but honest to God, implement 2FA now. And I know we're talking about your plugins, but as a lesson, that's the first step to making your life a lot better.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
some security plugins have that built in, and
Yep.
it kind of works. We found that so the security plugin we were working with didn't work with 2FA across all of our different setups. Most of them are common stack, but we have a few that are out there.
Can I
They're
ask
slightly different.
which security plugin, or would you rather not say?
WP Security Ninja. It's a great plugin, has a lot of great features. They're
But the
developing it and
2FA
moving
just
forward.
doesn't do it. Okay.
The 2FA didn't work in every one of our scenarios. So, as an agency
Yep.
that's going to, I'm managing
Oh,
over 100 sites, I that was the other part of it. A lot of the plugins, when I said they do a lot of the same features and have overlap, I choose not to use them because you're just calling filters for WordPress. So I have a ton of
I know.
snippets. And so
I know.
I set out to build two plugins to kind of replace some performance and security things. One, I've called Simple Performance for WordPress. It will never be on .org because I put WordPress in the name, and we know how Matt feels about that. But basically, I looked at we were using Flying Press on top of server caching, and then we needed another plugin for minification and hardening. And then there was some overlap with the security plugin, and they didn't all play together well. So, and they're heavy. They slowed the site down. As soon as we disabled them, we saw
Yep.
site speed
Of
increase.
course.
So when Google sent me the email saying, "Hey, we have the fraud defense system. You should check it out." I said, "Hey, this is a great opportunity to fix our 2FA and write it ourselves
Yep.
and integrate." And I'd already written my own reCAPTCHA plugin to integrate. So this is a perfect opportunity to start adding some of those scripts into a plugin and consolidate for
Mhm.
two reasons. One, they go in different places. They might be in a
Yep.
server config file. It might be htaccess if we're on open lightspeed. It might be an
Yep.
nginx config, or it might be another snippet that runs in the head for WordPress. It's all a little bit
Mhm.
different on where you can inject some of these things. I'm a developer and I'm comfortable with this.
Yep.
The other piece is we're growing and I need to hire someone. I don't expect, a person setting up the site to know all these things. What if they can
Yep.
click a toggle if I have a checklist that says, if this happens, click this toggle and enable this feature. So we separated out the performance and the hardening into one plugin called Simple Performance. And it does the basic things like
And it's great.
we
And
could,
it's great. And from a performance perspective,
yeah, I mean,
I
uh,
can say
in
your
fact,
performance, your site goes up, not down, big time.
yeah, and they're just common things like disabling, the core sitemaps,
Yep.
disabling the core robot edition, little things like that that I had snippets for. Now you just click a toggle. One of the other things that we saw, and I got to credit WP Security Ninja for kind of turning me onto this. Through their firewall scanner, I saw people looking and scanning for the author pages, trying to find a vulnerable account.
Oh
And
God.
that's also what the simple forms does. We turn that off. We block that. You can't scan for users via REST API
Mhm.
or other methods. So that was that part of it. I got tired of not having, my life to work on projects and dealing with poorly coded plugins and people trying to sell up, a ton of features in their plugin, and really it just kills your site performance. So
Yeah.
the goal was increase site performance and increase
Yep.
security. And so that's why I wrote these. But the last one, make it easy. So you don't have to be a security professional or a developer to harden your site. And just a couple of toggles and you can fix a lot of things.
Yep. I agree with you. I think now I'm in the same space you're in, and I manage a pile of sites, just a few, right? But I'm running these on, uh, I guess I said to you five or six, including my own production site, to be
Mhm.
fair. As I said, the average person shouldn't do that, but that's another story. Um, the difference, I've got the performance plugin running on a large e-com site that's in the chocolate selling business, a retail. And I got to performance, so that site's up by probably 10 to 15%, give or take.
Mhm.
So people don't, the drawback is when you do security plugins, they do so much, the average plugin slows the site down. That's just the reality of it. And, you still need to do things at the site level as well as the host level. I don't care what anybody says. You better be.
Yep. And that was part of my other
Yeah.
internal discussion and thought. We had, replatformed, rebuilt our servers and said
Mhm.
to have more granular control and isolate some
Yeah.
sites when, they were under threat or and just for performance. Well, it's turned out to be a lot more management than we really need and counterproductive.
Yeah.
So, rethinking security a little bit, and this is just normal. A lot of people are already there. Um, I've moved as much to the network level. We're running a network firewall ahead of all our
Yeah.
VPSs
Yeah.
to specifically block port traffic down to just the ones that we need. We have no password logins. Everything requires an RSA key to log in if you're going to go through
Good.
SSH. It was a security audit and cleanup as we kind of went through and I was building these.
Yeah.
But moving security to the server now, out of the web application, so we're not relying on PHP, running the HE firewall right at open light speed at the server level, and then putting the site behind a proxy behind Quick Cloud.
Of
We
course.
have a toggle now at Quick Cloud that's really easy that says, "Hey, under attack," and every weird visitor that's not fitting the normal user pattern gets a reCAPTCHA to visit the site and filters out a ton of traffic. So lightening the security on the site and doing the proper hardening and applying Google's fraud defense system, moving the firewall to the web server versus the web application, and then putting sites behind proxy, things have been great. And we're
Yeah.
still migrating our last couple of servers, but it's given me some time back. And over the past week or two, again, I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen the development speed as I moved each VPS and those dozen or so sites, I get a little bit
Yeah.
more time.
So
And the
a week,
speed of the plugin development went up.
yeah, a week ago today was when WordPress dropped their major bomb,
Mhm.
7.0.2. And where am I standing when that bomb drops? I'm walking out of the second visitation for my brother at a funeral home. And I'm looking at my email saying, what a friggin' day for this to drop. Now, we all know WordPress normally drops updates on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, never on a Friday. So the other thing is, folks, if you haven't done anything with your WordPress site, it's probably too late, but you better do it anyway because we saw exploits. If you've been watching any of the stuff from Patchstack and Oliver Sild lately, they're still reminding people because this is that bad. And I heard of one case I cleaned up yesterday where a guy had admin accounts, not one, four of them installed. I wonder why. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's just getting hard. I have to ask you another question. I know you didn't build these. Are you doing backups at the server level, at the site level, or both? I can't remember. Both,
both.
right?
Absolutely. And at
Okay.
the server level, it's we do every 12 hours and that's a full
Yep.
backup. And I've gotten burned with incrementals there. But at the web application level, we do incrementals off to the RAID in my office and also to Backblaze every 4 hours that we get an incremental, every 4 hours of the day. And that's an absolute must that you
Yeah,
have to be
I
backing
agree.
up from two different methods. I've had the plugin level backup fail. I've had the server level backup fail. And
Yep.
that actually, ironically enough, was what prompted our replatforming a while ago, was just poor support on getting backups restored. Well, it's bad everywhere. Everybody's getting hit with these vulnerabilities and attacks, and
Yep. Yep.
we're not the only ones. I use a control panel, actually two different ones right now. Kind of moving back and consolidating to one, but they're under the same threats, but we are. They're constantly patching and updating and developing new software, and then like everyone says, shit rolls downhill. So if there's a bug that they encounter or they break something by fixing and plugging a security hole, it might break something that we're doing. And that's the thing. That's the really tough thing with security, that we have to open the door enough to let people that we want in, but we need to keep it
Yeah.
closed for the people we don't want in. And that's what a lot of clients don't realize at times. I had one yesterday, and this is the weird thing. uh, you know, I've seen Stripe get updated. They've updated their API connection like 3 or 4 times recently for security, and we're constantly getting plugin updates and tweaks to how we're doing security there. And good on Stripe. I'm very happy with them on their
Yeah.
card testing and their fraud defense. They've been fantastic.
They've done a good job.
But
Yep.
yeah, but they every time they update, they've sent out, a note to the developer newsletter, hey, you're gonna probably need to update because this might be a feature breaking thing. And it's just what we have to deal with. Now it's not a set it and forget it for anything. There are updates that happen so fast and they are breaking updates. So that was the other part here where instead of manually managing all this code that I have been, and you drop it in and you don't worry about it,
Yep.
things work. That ease of management and also simple performance, you could have clicked a toggle and not updated your WordPress site and it would have solved the problem. That's the other part that I built these for, is to be agile when we have things that come up. I have a REST API. We've all seen WordPress move towards more REST actions, and honestly, 7.0 has been great. The admin doesn't use as much admin Ajax anymore. Things are faster, but that also opens up extra routes into your database. And so that was part of simple performance, that you can close off specific routes. One, I don't let any external unauthenticated calls into the users or anything that's sensitive, and that's cut down on a lot of traffic.
Yep.
The other bad part is when I first implemented these on a couple of sites that had been malware recovered or had seen heavy offensive traffic, you kind of kick the hornet's nest when you close more doors. And that's the other
No.
the dirty side that really pushed me to get this done and go uh fleet wide with all my sites. One that is still on the list to get moved, I said we're going to install this. It's the last set of sites. Sure enough, it's getting hit right now with just a ton of malicious traffic.
It is.
And
It's
it's
scary. It's
yeah, so as soon as you close some security doors, they get pissed off and they find another route to try and screw with you and take over your box. So uh, you
I
know,
know.
being
AI's
agile and
making
have
this
yeah,
AI's making this real hard. I mean, the
it is.
vulnerability
And
that came out on Friday, no sooner did the vulnerability come out, I was hearing reports of sites
within
getting
an
hit.
hour.
In an hour,
Mhm.
I heard 15 minutes, right? 15
Yeah,
minutes.
it was
And
within the
and
hour. Yeah, from
yeah,
mhm.
and it's not just websites, it's anything online. So I think I was
Yeah,
sharing with you the other day, Microsoft had in June had over 300 security patches in their Windows update. And people are going to say, oh, then don't run WordPress, don't run Microsoft. No, 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 no. Who
That
do you
that's
trust?
not what it is, and
It's who do you trust?
the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is, I had talked about we have to open the door to let people in, or else your
Yep.
app doesn't function. You built
Yep.
it, and we want to communicate. That's the whole point. What AI has opened, it's not that, security was lax. It exposed how wide the window or door was open and what could get through.
No
It just
question.
that visibility. And yeah, it's been a nightmare. Every time there's a new model that comes out that's a little bit better, yeah, it's scary. And
Yep.
that just prompted me to say I need some more hands. I don't need the most technical hands to do some of these things when they come in. And that was part of building the plugins. I need to bring a VA on that's a technical VA, but I don't need a developer to do site updates and keep. I'm doing site updates every day now. I'm sure you're doing the
Yep.
same. We used to do
Oh,
them,
I know.
weekly
Way too much.
or a couple of times a week. Now it's the first thing I do before the office opens, at 7 a.m. I check
I'm
to make
doing
sure that everything's up
I
to date.
thank all I can say is thank you to our friends over at Main WP. Like honestly,
Hmm.
because I am doing site updates on a daily basis now, and it's called you have to. There is no more choices. And it's the first thing on my schedule. It's in my calendar every day, bright and early. So 100%. There is no more options anymore. So
Yeah,
that's where we're
I still know some designers out there who don't update their sites,
I know.
and they're
So
afraid of things breaking. And, I hate to say it, but, web care used to be, some people would call it a luxury. It's not. It's not a luxury anymore. Even if you're on one of the SaaS platforms, they've been getting hit with vulnerabilities too. Anything
yep,
that you hit it on the head, anything out in the web is vulnerable.
it's
And
vulnerable.
uh,
No question.
sooner or later, I mean, even the big boys, how many outages have we seen from AWS, Google, Cloudflare, Microsoft, the big
Oracle.
boys?
They're happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And the big boys, I had read even the other day, Coca-Cola in one of their milk plants. And I don't know, I didn't send you a story about one of their milk plants, and it'll be in my from the desk of the CEO newsletter this weekend, got hit. Coca-Cola, who has millions of dollars to spend on IT, and they're
Mhm.
still getting hit. Government agencies, all kinds of them. So it's happening all over the place. So we got to take care. It was funny when I started offering care plans, I was doing once a week. Then I went to every 2 days, twice a week. Then I went to 3 times a week, and now I'm every day, all all year long.
Yeah, I used to have the note, we're not updating anything on a Friday. I if I see an update and it doesn't matter, Friday morning, we're updating.
Because
I
because the hackers know most people don't update on a Friday. So when do they launch? Saturday morning, bright and early. Like, come on, guys. So we know what's going
Yep.
on. So the point is, folks, and I'm going to say this very nicely. And I don't do a lot of self promotion on the show, but I'm going to. If you've got a web care person that's not updating your site every day, you need to pick up phone and call Ryan or call me. Very simple. There's no more time for this. And you say, but that's going to cost me money. You know what? It's going to cost you less money and less stress to do it right and be proactive than to roll your dice and not do it properly. So I would say
Exactly.
now's the time.
I, Yep, and I recently took over two sites, busy national e-com sites. They both do into one does into the six figures monthly.
Yep.
The other one is well into the high five figures. And
Yep.
do you know how many plugins and themes were out of date on each of the sites when I took them over?
32. 32.
That was pretty close on one of them, 31, and then
Yep.
25 on the other.
And
And
often
that was scary.
it's often a core version of WordPress too. And I see
Yep.
that, and I see that, and I see that. And what's even worse is how many times you and I have gone through this where somebody else takes over a site we've managed effectively, and then they
Mhm.
get I'm going through it right now where I had a former client from 5 years ago, and he got his site is in such bad strait right now. And be fair, I want nowhere near the mess. I don't even want near it. And it's like
Mhm.
you couldn't trust me enough to do what I did to make sure it didn't happen. So figure it out. I'm okay with that. Ryan, I have to say thank you for building these plugins. First of all, making the web a little safer for your clients and for me. And honestly, guys, if you, I'm going to say it again, if you don't have a care plan that's updating your sites every day, call Ryan, call me. We'll jump in and help you out. Uh, and we'll make it easy for you. And we'll take the stress out of your business, not
Mhm.
into your business. Right, Ryan?
Exactly. And you know, that's the whole thing about web care. We want to make sure that your site is running and that it's up, available, and functioning so that you can run your business and continue to make money for
Yep.
yourself and not lose money by having a site that's down.
Yep. Ryan, thanks as always. Next month, and I haven't told you this, we're gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna play Q&A with Ryan on Agency Chat. So that should be
Oh
fun.
boy.
He didn't know this was coming. So I like surprises. I warned him before we went to record today. I was in the mood. So Ryan, much love to you. Have an awesome weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. One Dog Solutions for all your web care needs, and go pay Ryan a visit. Thanks, guys, for listening. Thank
All
you,
right.
Ryan, for being here.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks again to our sponsor, All-in-One WP Migration by ServeMask. Export your entire WordPress site in one click, import it anywhere. No server access needed, no command line, works with every hosting provider. Free on WordPress.org, or extension at servemask.com. A very special thank you to Ryan Waterbury for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.